welcome back to the homestead. Today is a really beautiful fall day and we've just got a lot of not so exciting projects we're working on today. So rather than pulling you all along for all those projects, we thought we would just take a moment to sit down and do a Q&A with you all. We get quite a few questions coming in and then we kind of compile those, and after a while, once the questions have been asked multiple times, then we just do a video and answer those questions. So that's what we're gonna do today.
That's right. All right, we've got our new, apparently our new cat. We're calling him Shadow. So we've named him. Oh boy, once you've named them, they're kind of yours. So unless someone comes and claims this cat, he's become ours.
Right.
So hey y'all, welcome Shadow to the homestead. Shadow's pretty cool. He's got this little dot underneath him on his chest.
We almost called him Mr. Bib.
Mr. Bib. So anyways, he's hanging in my lap. As long as I keep him in my lap, Carrie's okay with that.
Right. I get very distracted by cats.
All right, so first question. People ask often if they can come visit.
Right. We are just not set up at this point in our lives to accommodate visitations for many reasons, but mostly just time. Our days are really packed full. We would at some point like to be able to have people on our homestead and get to see things firsthand, but we haven't worked out all the details on what that would look like, and we're not at a place to do that yet.
Yeah. And let me interject a piece of information there. Most of you don't realize that part of building this homestead is, part of the vision is as a ministry. Part of that ministry is to have visitations, to have farm tours, to have teaching farm tours, to put on classes even, and stuff like that. So part of building this homestead is we're still building a ministry here.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that, but once this homestead is built to a point, once enough things are designed and installed and stuff like that, then the ministry, that part of the ministry of Thousands of Roots and Homestead Living, can get turned on. But for now, the vast majority of this ministry exists just right here and on Patreon. So next question is, any land, home, place to rent? I don't know.
We get a lot of questions of people wanting to move to the area, and so they're just thinking that maybe we might know of some land available or a home or even a place to rent available. And every once in a while we'll know of a place, but for the most part we don't know what's available. And so you definitely need to just find a realtor, or even if you have friends or family that live in the area that have the time to go search out a place for you, that would be great too. But we're not at this point, we're not able to take the time to go and find places.
Buying seeds.
Yeah, we've had a few requests, people wondering if we would sell seeds. At this point, I am still quite new at learning how to save seeds, and I'm pretty much only saving seeds for our own family and then a few extras to share with friends. I don't really have plans of having a seed company, but who knows, maybe down the road.
Yeah. So Esther Pye's paintings.
Yes, Esther Pye has done some painting in a couple of our videos, and people have wondered if she has paintings for sale. She does not. She does them mostly just as gifts right now. However, as she gets a little bit older, and if she desires to earn some money, she may be able to have some for sale. And if that's the case, we will let you all know that she has some paintings for sale.
Right. Yeah, it's such a hard thing because we want to bless you all. You know, I want to bless you all with all things possible. And you know I love little Esther Pye's paintings. They're so well done. She's so talented.
Yeah,
she's really been blessed with that talent. It comes from you.
Comes from above.
Yeah. But
Heavenly Father, giver of all good gifts.
That's right. So, he's trying to come aboard. He's trying to go move over to mommy, and mommy's not having it. So let me just change arms here.
All right. Another question we get often is, and usually this is, I think, from people that are just kind of passing through the channel and don't really know us that well. They wonder why our children aren't free to leave the homestead, and they're for some reason they think that our children are not allowed to go to college if they want to. So we get that question from a few people, like, are your children going to go off to college? Are they allowed to leave the homestead? And the answer is yes, they are allowed to do whatever the Father shows them to do. And so if that's to go across the world, they'll go across the world. If it's to go to college, they'll go to college. So far, none of our older children have an interest in college. They much prefer the idea of doing an apprenticeship or just self-learning online. And also, so far, all three of the oldest want to stay on the homestead and build their own homes here. So it's totally up to them.
Yep.
We're letting them make that choice.
Yep, and whatever the Father calls them to do, that's what we want to empower them to do.
Yep. A couple people have asked about how they can support Caleb in his building his own homestead. Ever since we did the video kind of showing just the beginnings of plotting out his land, there's been a few requests come in to help him. If you would like to help Caleb, feel free to go to our website, and through there's a link to a PayPal button that you can actually donate, and just make sure that you write that it's for Caleb, and then we can take it and put it directly into his account.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay, another question. This is a big one that we get a lot. People just starting out homesteading want to know, where do you start? That's difficult, because where you start depends on where you're at and what you have to work with. Obviously, if you have a place with a home that's a livable home, then you're not going to have to start there. But ideally, you want to have a place to live, a shelter, obviously, that you can make home and work from. Because if you don't have a place to work from and you're trying to build a homestead, that's going to be really difficult. We lived in a travel trailer for 1.5 years, and then a very unfinished home for quite a while. And it's doable, you can do it, but just know that there's a lot of stress that comes with that.
It's the hard way.
Yeah, so I would say start with your home, and then after that, don't get any animals until you first have really good fencing. And you're going to probably have to research, if you don't know this already, research and find out what's the best fencing for the type of animal you want. Get the fencing in place.
Or animal combinations.
Or animal combinations, yeah. And get their shelter in place before you get the animals. Very important.
Get their watering figured out before you get the animals.
Yeah, you may even go so far as making sure that you've got some sustainable food systems in place for the animal. So hay, if it's cows, figure out how you're going to get them hay. Chickens, there's lots of different ways that you can produce your own food for chickens. Unless you just don't mind going to the feed store and bringing it all in from the feed store. What else would you say, love, starting out?
A super key element when you're starting out homesteading is making sure every one of your family member is in unity with you.
Right.
Mom, if you want to homestead super bad and Dad's not into it, but Mom is, be careful, and vice versa as well. Just, if you're not all unified in doing this endeavor, oh my, it's a recipe for failure.
Yeah.
It really is. Somebody will become embittered. If somebody's dragging their feet, it's just like, oh man, you're kicking against the goads. I mean, wow, if we all weren't unified,
right,
and wanting to do this and willing to work together and laugh together and cry together, and if we weren't willing to, there's no way we could be succeeding. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's huge. I guess just one other thing that's kind of an obvious is being debt-free is really, really helpful. If we had started out our journey here with debt, I don't know that we would have been able to continue. So I'm really thankful that we were able to start debt-free.
That's right.
And not have that burden hanging over us the whole time that we've been building.
Yep, and it would just would have taken funds away, you know.
Right.
Another huge area that I will counsel you on when you're going to start off homesteading is become good gardeners first before you start getting animals.
Yeah.
Animals, even if, okay, now we know some folks that are super experienced with animals. So even if you're a professional animal husbandry person, animals take a lot of time. There's no way around that. I don't care. Even if your system is set up really well, animals take a lot of time. If you're out there moving them every day, if you're out there watering them every day, if you're out there feeding them every day, if you're having to go to town to get feed for them or go here to get hay or whatever, I mean, animals just take a lot of time no matter what. So I really encourage you to get your gardens in first. At least get a nice big kitchen garden in. Get that ripping and roaring. And then start considering animals after that.
Yeah.
So will that take us to our last
question
for today was about swales. And a few people like, what are swales? I don't understand swales. I even went online and looked it up and I still can't get my mind around it. So I'll just take you out there and show you. Okay, so behind me is the whole swale that a little bit ago we maintenance this whole swale, added some fruit trees where there were some empty ones. And so I'll point down this way. This is the beginning of the swale. The swale goes from here and then it goes all the way. Keep on going, keep on going. Now we'll look back. So the swale ends there, and then from there it spills into the pond. I'll actually take you over there and show you that, and then I'll explain the purpose of this swale. So one of the things that this swale does is that it catches all the rainwater from this hill, catches all that rainwater, then it soaks the rainwater in to the swale, and then once the swale, I don't know if you can see that water, you should be able to see it over there. See the water in the swale? Once the swale gets enough rainwater and fills up, it actually overflows then right into that pond. And see, the pond is nice and full with water. That's because of this swale. The swale catches a lot of that water. So let me turn you this way. What we have uphill from the swale, this is all uphill. And this is where our cows graze. It's uphill from the swale. So this is all uphill. So the water runs this way and then comes right into the swale. And as the water runs down this way on the surface, it catches some stuff like this. And it catches some of their manure. And so really this swale is getting fertilized water into it. This water seeps into the swale then. So then it's a self-watering system along this whole swale. And this swale is on contour. What contour is, like on a map, there's contour lines around map. And what contour is something that's on the same elevation, is on contour. So actual elevation lines are contour lines on a map. And so this swale I surveyed it, and so I put the whole thing on the same elevation. So swales can zig and zag because of the terrain. It has to do that because the terrain might be coming and then we'll go whoop and then go back like that. Well, then your swale is coming down and it has to go whoop way around that to stay on the same elevation. So once water gets into a swale, it doesn't run, it's just stagnant. So the water will just, like a tub almost, just fill up until it gets to the designed height or depth of water. The water gets to a certain height and then it spills out wherever you put the spillway in. And I designed it and I put the spillway in right down here at the end. And it's only like 2 inches lower here than anywhere else. But right when the water gets to that level, whoop, it starts to spill over. And as it fills up more, it can spill a lot faster over that direction. And whenever you do something like that, you have to remember it's going to erode a little bit wherever you put the spillway, so you have to design it with that in mind. Also, we had a question about the spacing of the trees. This tree here, oh, I just got shocked. This tree here is a support species. That's a support species. So these trees aren't going to stay on the swale. They're only meant to help the actual fruit trees thrive. And by chopping a bunch of the branches off of these support species, what it actually does is it releases nitrogen into the soil. Because you've cut off so many limbs, then it'll cause the roots to shrink, and when the roots shrink, it releases the nitrogen into the soil. That's when you chop the support species real hard. That's what it does. Eventually, once the fruit trees are strong and healthy, you just totally chop the support species off, right straight down to the ground, and you're done with them. So that's all they're for. They're nurse trees. They're to nurse the fruit trees until the fruit trees get to maturity. That's it. So our fruit trees are actually 15 to 20 feet apart from each other. You just couldn't tell that on the video. All right, I think that answers the question about swale. One other cool thing right here in the garden I'm going to show you, and it's about microclimates. What are microclimates? I'm going to give you a real quick, simplified understanding of microclimates. Okay, so here's the Mexican Sourgherkins, and as you can see, like this one is all soft. It's not even edible anymore. I mean, I guess it's probably edible, but it wouldn't be enjoyable. See, all these have turned black and almost black, really dark brown. But now, interesting, step right around and look at this side. Look at down there. So only the vines that are hanging on the cement wall have remained nice and green, and we tried some of the gherkins as well, and they were still awesome, nice and firm. Look at this. See these here? Oh, here's another real nice one. A nice one there. So this right here, this has created a microclimate. There's a huge sour gherkin. Look at that. That's a real beauty. Okay, so this cement wall has created the microclimate. So microclimate is when you build or install something that can actually change the temperature in that area, in that environment. And in this case, it's changing the temperature because that cement wall absorbs the heat. And then when it gets cold at night, or even during the day or whatever, that wall releases some of the heat. And so, and that's a mass, that's called solar mass, that wall, by the sun. So solar mass, the mass of the cement is absorbing all that heat, then it releases the heat. I've actually seen really huge jobs where they do block cement walls, like 20-foot tall ones. And they'll be south-facing walls, so facing the sun. And then in front of those walls, they'll plant out fruit trees and vining things and all kinds of stuff right against that wall. So that can extend the growing season by months. So that's a microclimate. You can create microclimates by a greenhouse is a microclimate. You can put a huge boulder in the middle of a pond and create a microclimate that way, because that huge boulder will do different things with the solar mass than the water does. So there's all kinds of ways, but hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about microclimates. Do you want that kitty coming to you?
Up there.
Hey Critter, what you up to?
Picking out a play bathtub.
Oh. Look at you, Esther Pie. You look like a pig pen or something. You turn into a little piggy? Yeah. Uh-oh, Naomi wants to be on video too. Let's see what's going on over here. Oh boy, look at you.
I am making a pie.
You are, huh? Look at your hands.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. We pray blessings over you and yours. Whatever you do, do it with your whole heart.